Hey, shalom, shalom. Elder Rich back in with the video. It's been quite some time since I've been able to come on and make a video. I've been very busy. However, um, with the atmosphere revolving a lot around racism right now, and also um, truly enjoyed last week Blogtalk with Pastor Dowell, and also with his special guest, Sister Ashley, as well as a few other guest call-ins. And the reason why I enjoyed it is because I got to hear, with somebody on the other side of the coin, if I could say that, and be pure, had to say. And what I mean by that is according to the flesh. Um, Whether we believe, some things are true or not, or the powers that be, or staging things or whatever, at the end of the day, we do know that there's been a problem concerning what the world will call race. And uh, I want to focus on us that are just pretty much is in the ministry, that are striving to perfection. Those of us that are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Um, my focus is us. And one of the things that I want to know, or one of the things that I would like to point out, and I had a few talks with some of the brethren the next Sabbath. Well, I'm not saying at the next Sabbath, but I'll say on Sabbath, the day after that broadcast had aired, um, the next day. And me and a few brethren had, some talks about, just our thoughts on what was said, especially the impact that Sister Ashley made. She made a few key statements pertaining to the deflection when someone brings it up, taking away the impact of what society has had on a melanated people or black people. Um, you know, it's showing that it is your hidden racism, or whether it's guilt, or whatever the case may be. But something that I noticed was, you have many of us that are black in the ministry that we speak about, other people of other nations, if you will, being grafted in. We speak about the acceptance of what the so-called white people, white man, being accepted as Israel, and we get a lot of kickback from men and women according to the flesh, if you will, pertain to accepting white people um, in the fold. And when someone like Pastor Dowell can get up behind a pulpit and vehemently, passionately speak about the stranger joining himself unto Israel as one born in the land, um, there shall be no differences. Um, so, and then he also will speak about the grafted in. He will speak about the wild olive, the wild branch. Uh, he'll speak this way, and how we're all Israel, right? And you hear agreement is what you hear from the people as a whole. What you hear is glories, hallelujahs. You hear a loud and enthusiastic hallelujah. You hear a very enthusiastic agreement from the crowd. Um, but anytime that he speaks on the natural branch, anytime that he speaks about how he is a Hebrew, when he speaks about being a natural born, when he speaks on, or when any of us in the ministry, elders or pastors, speak on the curses, the Deuteronomy 28, the Leviticus 26, anything that we read in Psalms, nations being confederate to take away the name of Israel, and so on and so forth. We don't hear that enthusiastic agreement. We don't hear glory. We don't hear the hallelujahs, you know. And people like me, I'll be honest, I've been noticing it for quite a while. And I know a lot of people don't agree. All right. And Brother Tristan actually came on Sons of Jacob, maybe, I don't know, it was probably last week. And he spoke on this very matter. And he even said, I've been a part of assemblies that were, and he's fellowship with white people. And he could tell, and he has a sense through their conversation and their rhetoric that they disagree with that. But someone like myself, Pastor Dowd, Pastor Corey, Elder Rufus, Elder Austin, the list goes on and on and on, as well as many other brethren that are what the world will call black. we look in that book and we could see and we could match up that we fit what this book is describing, especially people that are under the curse. And we still going through these same oppressions as of today. And I like how Jesse Ventura had put it. You know, when he speaks with his black friend, he doesn't, the same thoughts do not run through his mind when he's going to get in a vehicle at night and drive to put certain things certain places so he doesn't have to reach for anything if he gets stopped by a cop. All right, there's a preconceived notion on every black person that is born, that comes out of the womb in this society, in this country that we live in. And you'd be a fool not to see something like that. All right, and so there's clearly a difference in what we have to go through and what we have to deal with versus what someone that's non-melanated or white would have to go through in this country. And it's pretty evident all throughout life, from the time that I got, from the time I entered the workforce, even up until now. I see it. The higher I go in my career, I see it. The longer I live in this life, I see it. People used to talk about racism being dead in the 21st century, or whatever the case may be, and nothing could be further from the truth. And I'm not even going off of what I see going on in the news. I just go purely off my own experiences and what I go through. You have to change people's minds. You got to have blood, sweat, and tears just to have the same opportunities that that your white counterpart would otherwise obtain very easily. And I can go on and on and on about just examples that I've gone through just in life of just purely from someone looking at me and just having a preconceived notion and saying, okay, he's dumb, he's not smart, he won't be able to do it, he won't be able to handle it, or whatever the case may be. I could give you one example. I told everybody on Blogtalk about a situation I had where pretty much I got hired when I first started out in my career. Not no just regular job, but when I started out in my career at the age of 22, I can remember being hired on with this one company. And I was the only black spec there, besides the janitor that had worked there 10 years prior. And I really was looked at as if I didn't belong, especially initially. And then after 3 months of working there, I had three men, white men, approach me and say, hey, the longest a black man ever lasted here was 10 months. Now, and the way they said it, it wasn't very welcoming. You see what I'm saying? So what did I do to deserve that? Then I had another one walk up to me. Now, this one was a Yankee. He walked up to me because he was from the north, and he came. He said, hey, you see Brian over there? I said, I see Brian. And Brian was a young white boy that got hired in, just like I got hired in. We were both young. They hired in maybe 5 of us. I was the only black one. All the rest of them was white. And there was one that really liked. He had a degree and everything. He had a bachelor's degree. He's the only one that had a degree besides myself. And they said, Brian right there, he said, yeah, his 1-inch mistake is a mile for you. You see what I'm saying? I'm not afforded to be allowed to make the same mistakes that he was afforded to make. You see what I'm saying? And then not be swept under the rug or whatever the case may be. Along with these other 4 people that I got hired with that were all white, me being black, I was underpaid. I got $17 an hour. I was getting $22, $24 an hour. You see what I'm saying? And I knew about it because they would brag about it. They would brag about what they were making, and half of them didn't. The rest of them, the other 3, didn't even have degrees. Only one of them had a degree, but none of them could hold a candle to me when it came to the work experience that I had. I knew how to work with my power tools, knew how to work with my hand tools. I knew how to operate all kinds of equipment, JLG jig lifts, scissor lifts, forklifts, cherry pickers, mini cranes, all this stuff. I knew how to work. I knew how to operate. And I also had construction experience. I had deep water offshore experience. I had all this experience. But yet I was still getting underpaid by $5, $6, $7, $8. You see what I'm saying? And it took maybe 6 months after me being there, they said, you know what, Mitchell? You all right. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, what the hell was I before? You see what I'm saying? I guess because I put it with their mouths and things that they had to say for so long, I suppose, that I guess I was all right now. And I showed them that, oh, I could actually work, and oh, I will be on time, and oh, I will be this and I will be that. You see what I'm saying? And then I finally got a raise, and they put me in the middle of the pack. And they gave me $23 an hour. Uh, but this is only after they found out that I heard how much these other cats was getting paid. And I know the situation I was in, because once the company finally got bought out, the company was sold, and the people that bought, the corporation that bought this small company that I was a part of, I think they seen the writing on the wall, and they hired a black HR. And sure enough, when this woman was hired, she pulled me to the office and said, you know what, you're really changing, you're really having an impact on a lot of these people. And I didn't, and mind you, I didn't know. I'm just working, doing what I think I know to do is right. And she said, there's a preconceived notion on you, and you have to show otherwise. And so she said it in very few small words, but it was pointed out. Why do I have to be subject to nooses being hung outside of job sites? Different places that I have to travel and go and work. You know what I mean? So these are the type of things that, and mind you, this is on a very small level. I'm just talking to you about work history. I ain't even talking to you just being personal out there in the world. But these are things that are actually being perpetuated on people that are like myself. So when I can see what's happening to me, and I can see the injustices, and I can see the biases, when I can see the preconceived notions that are upon us, when I go over here and look at the word and talks about me being a byword, a proverb, and an astonishment. I even look at how some of these people of these other backgrounds speak of us. No matter how smart or dumb or intelligent or non-intelligent, no matter how good or bad we look, it don't even matter, man. Some of these people, they speak like we're monkeys. We're not human, and I'll say this. It's just like, Pastor Dowell said, just like many other men have pointed out, when they made Declaration of Independence, all men free. Sorry about that. Anyway, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, or these constitutions, these things didn't necessarily include someone that looked like me. And so once again, a black man living in society right here, we look at this book and we look at this word, and we can clearly see that it fits us, but we don't have the love being reciprocated, because and I'll even say within the ministry, like I said, we don't hear the enthusiastic agreement whenever these things are brought up about being the natural branch. Mind you, we're not even saying that we're better. We don't even bring that. We're not even saying that we're better. We don't act like we're better. We state it, and we speak on it. We love you. We accept you. You see what I'm saying? But the love ain't reciprocated. It's just not. I don't see it. And we don't get the support. I don't see that we get the support of speaking about being natural, or the natural branch. Because why? We're a lost people that have no heritage. If somebody asks us where we from, what do we say? When we talk about our ancestry, what do we say? Our legacy or our history, our ancestry is slavery, for all we know. That's all we know. Past that, we don't know. Just a lost people with no identity. And so finally we see something that we can attach ourselves to, and we're not supported in it. We're not encouraged in it from our white counterparts. All right, that's something we just don't see, and it's sad. It really is. We prior to, there's a lot of self-hatred among black folks, men and women. You know, we don't like ourselves. Why? Because we were, the only thing that we were shown through growing up, through television, through what we hear in our ear gates and what we see with our eye gates, is nothing positive about being black, especially growing up in this society whatsoever at all. Not accepted, even to the point where many black families, I used to talk to people, whatever, and they would strive. I mean, they were reaching to talk about one of their white relatives, or my great grandmother was white, or my great grandfather was white, or I got Indian in my blood, and this stuff is boasted about, in black communities. People, they don't want to be black, they want to be Creole. Or you meet somebody black from the islands, they not black, they're Puerto Rican. You go to South America, same thing. Or somebody from the island of Dominican, oh, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. Okay, and you go to Brazil. I'm Brazilian. I'm not black. You know, they do their best to disassociate themselves altogether. You know, with the rest of the so-called Negro population here in the United States. You know, there's a self-hatred there. All right, white folks that I knew, they knew their history. They knew their history. Many of them. I'm not gonna say all, but I'll say many of them. I mean, they go back 7 generations, 10 generations. They know exactly where their people from. You know, oh, Netherlands, Sweden. Oh, my mother and them, they come from Poland, or whatever the case may be. They know all about their ancestry, and all of a sudden we come to this walk, and everybody wants to be the people. Everybody want to be the people of the book. Everybody want to make themselves Israel. Everybody does. You know, British Israelite doctrine, Black Hebrew Israelite doctrine, so on and so forth. See, once the book has gotten very popular from the time of like 2010 on up till now. So for like the last decade, being in the faith, being a Torah keeper, being a faith keeper, if you will, a Nazarene, a Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite, all these different terms. Now, stuff has gotten a lot of steam in the past decade. And everybody's trying to join themselves to it. And at the end of the day, there's only one people that we all know that fits what we see being talked about as far as the curses go, and we can't be supported in it. So it is what it is. And I could go on and on and on. Time will fail me, bringing up all the examples and things I know about the injustices brought upon people. And they use this thing called race to just divide. So anyway, I said enough, but that's kind of what I wanted to speak on, just for a short period, real quick, based on what was brought out by Pastor Dowell and, like I said, Sister Ashley, and many of the other callers that called in, like Brother Patrick Moore and Ms. Shah Nicole, as well as Teacher Eric. So I bless all my brothers in the ministry. Love them all, I really do. However, I do like the fact that this subject is being brought up, because this is something I've noticed for quite some time. Bless y'all. Shalom.